Hello, everyone. Thank you, Yannick, very much for this invitation. So CECIA is a project organized here in ZKM within the Interfaces network, which is founded by the Creative Europe program of the European Union. CECIA is an acronym which comes from a collaborative electroacoustic composition with intelligent agents. And the idea of this project is to create a group of composers and with the assistantship of intelligent agents, which is based on machine learning, to be able to collaborate together and create a coherent composition of electroacoustic music. So let's start our presentation with what is electroacoustic music. Electroacoustic music was first developed in the middle of the 20th century after the Second World War, with the advent of technologies like the microphone, loudspeakers, tape recorder, and more recently, a digital computer. This media enabled a totally different creative practice for the composer, which now could operate with every kind of sound that they want to be. So they didn't rely only on the sounds produced by instruments, but they could record any sounds, physical, natural, or man-made, and process the sound and make a composition. So in early days, this was happening. First, of course, the composer had to record the sounds, and then they collected the sounds and they went to the studio where they can work manually with the tapes. So they glue together, cut it, or delay them, and then record it again. Of course, now we have the privilege to have all these processes digitalized, and we can work in programs like Reaper, which is very convenient and fast. And what is also, this new practice enables also a new kind of presentation forms. So this music didn't require any performance to be performed, but loudspeakers. So concerts were organized from that era and also today with a concert hall equipped with sound diffuser systems, which included numerous loudspeakers, as the one here in Kubus, the Klangdom in Kubus. Okay, now let's talk about collaboration in music. Music is often being done collaboratively. Instrumental composers collaborate with instrumentalists in order to create a composition that fits the technical capabilities of the performer, and also the collaborators with concert organizers or with singers. Also, the electroacoustic composers, they collaborate with music technologists in order to create new hardware equipment or software equipment that assist their creative practice. But there is also another kind of collaboration which is not very much known, and it's collaboration between composers. And this has been done numerous times throughout the history of Western music. Composers like Handel, Mozart, Schumann, Brahms, Verdi, Stravinsky, and many, many more has often in their career participate in projects that include collaboration with other composers. And they were composed also very large compositions like operas, string quartets, and sonatas. So now let's go back to the CECIA project. This is a very basic scheme of how the creative process will take place. So we have the composers and the machine learning algorithms. Well, first, actually, let's start with the composer, which they are going to compose very small fragments of music. We can call them also musical phrases. And then we will train some machine learning algorithms that they will be able to learn from these excerpts. And then the machine learning algorithm will generate new excerpts, new musical phrases, which will be fed back to the composers. And then the composer will be evaluating these fragments. So there's a reciprocal relationship between composers and algorithms. And then we have also configured a mechanism that will be able to construct a composition which will conduct it in iterative fashion. So how we initiate the project, we started with an open call that we advertised the project, and we let the community of electroacoustic composers to know about this project. So we received around 100 applications all around the world. And we ended up selecting 5 composers. These composers are Panagiotis Kokoras from Greece, Mariam Kviniasvili from Georgia, Juan Carlos Vasquez from Colombia, Martina Kosecka from Poland, and Eric Nystrom from Sweden. The time frame of the creative period of the project has already started from 1st of August and will end up on 10th of December, just before the presentation of the composition. In order to conduct and manage the whole process, we develop a web platform which uses some cloud computing services. And in order to assist some functionality, the functionality that the platform provides us is to facilitate the discussion and the exchange of ideas with an online forum, storage and archive of the composed and generated material, conduct of the evaluation processes and overall management of the project, documentation and presentation of the project, and public access. So you are all welcome also to visit our website and follow the creative process that's going on right now. The phases of the project is divided in 4 main categories, in more main phases. So we have the conception phase, preparation phase, development phase, and revision. The conception phase, the composers will get to know each other because they are totally not unknown, they don't know each other. They live in different parts of the world, and of course they have to know each other in order to create a sort of group identity. And also they will discuss in this phase the nature of the composition they are going to compose. In the preparation phase, they will start collecting recordings, sounds that are related to the concept phase, and also they will process these sounds according to what the concept of this composition is. Then they will start the most long period of the project, the development phase, where we will have weekly iterations. And every week the composer will have to compose these small fragments and then evaluate them also. At the same time, we will collect these fragments and we will train machine learning algorithms according to the preference of the composers and generate also new fragments. They will be fed back to the composers. And the composer eventually will evaluate the human composed fragments and then computer generated fragments. So with this mechanism, we will construct the whole composition. And in the end, we'll do a very short revision phase where we'll make small adjustments and finalize the composition. And now my colleague Artemi-Maria Gioti will talk to you about how this machine learning works and how we implement it in the project.
So, good evening from me as well. I am a composer and researcher and co-moderator of the project CECIA. Let me explain a little bit about the research questions in this project. So what are we trying to find out in this project? Well, one of the main questions that we want to explore in this project is whether a collective identity will emerge through the integration of the different identities, of the different aesthetics of the composers involved in the project. For that reason, we have selected composers with very different backgrounds and with very different aesthetics. And we want to find out to what extent the composition that they will create collectively will reflect or even deviate from each composer's individual aesthetics and each composer's individual taste. Another question that we want to explore in this project is how we can use artificial intelligence in order to support and assist human creativity. And for that reason, we will use a machine learning algorithm in order to analyze the musical fragments composed by the composers and also to analyze the evaluation process, to analyze how the composers evaluate each other's work. So essentially, the machine learning algorithm will just try to learn the aesthetic preferences of the composers involved in the project. For example, it will try to learn things like what kind of sounds do the composers like to use and how they like to arrange them in time. Based on what it has learned, the machine learning algorithm will also compose some music. It will generate some short musical fragments, and the composers will then be able to use those musical fragments and to modify them according to their liking. So in this project, collaboration is not just limited to the collaboration that takes place among the humans, but it also extends to include human-computer collaboration. And this stems from an understanding of artificial intelligence not as a replacement for human intelligence, but as an extension of human intelligence. And this is in fact what distinguishes this project from a lot of other projects in the field of music and artificial intelligence. So a lot of research in the past has focused on developing computer programs that could compose music autonomously without any human supervision. Just to give you an idea, here is an excerpt of some music composed by a computer program called Acoustic. Yes, so it probably won't come as a surprise that this type of music has been criticized as lacking an intentionality, directionality, and essentially just lacking an identity. And in fact, while there is a lot of talk nowadays about how artificial intelligence will replace humans, in practice, this is a very difficult task, and particularly in art. So machine learning is nowadays doing very well at solving problems that have a single correct answer. For example, machine learning algorithms are doing very well at tasks like speech recognition or image recognition. However, when it comes to art, things are a little bit different because in art, there are no objectively wrong or right answers. Art is about aesthetics, and aesthetics can never be objective. They're always subjective. So what we're trying to do in this project is find ways in which artificial intelligence can support and assist human creativity. And we're looking at artificial intelligence, or we're trying to use artificial intelligence in order to complement human intelligence and not to compete against it. So in our project, the machine learning algorithm will try to learn from the human composers, and then it will generate some musical ideas. The composers will then be able to develop these ideas further and eventually integrate them into their composition. So the question that we're dealing with here is, how can we use artificial intelligence in order to assist humans at creative tasks? How can the machine learn from humans? How can the humans learn from the machine? So in the end, the goal is that the machine learning algorithm will contribute to this collective identity and this collective intelligence together with the human artists. Before I wrap up, I would just like to mention very briefly what my colleague already mentioned, that the compositional process has officially already started, and the project will run for about 4 more months. And of course, the resulting composition will be premiered here at ZKM on the 13th of December. So if anyone is around at that time, please join us at the concert and listen to the results for yourselves. Thank you very much for your attention.